It's the last Tuesday of the month, so we know what that means. It's time for another top 5. So for all you school goers, you college goers, you university goers, we are now in the summer holidays. Woo! Well done for making it through your academic year. If you are like me and just graduated, then you are now in the world of real life. For all of you who are still in education, that means you have plenty of time to do some reading for your own pleasure, not for your academic gain. So in this month's top 5, we are going to look at my top 5 reading recommendations. Don't get me wrong, there are so many other books out there, so many better books that I could have picked. To be honest, I don't have any of my books here with me in this new house, so these are the books I have on hand, or books that I know that you should read, okay? But I'll probably do another video later on with some more books. So the first book this month I'm going to recommend to you is a book by someone that you might not have heard of, you probably won't have heard of her. It's called A Glamorously Unglamorous Life. It's by someone called Julie Albane, and this book is her first book. She is now in the process of writing another book, and basically she moved to New York straight out of college, and it's all about her experiences, her tips. It's a really good book. It made me cry. It doesn't take a lot to make me cry, in all honesty, but it's a great book. It's sort of great if you're coming out of uni, out of college, you want to do something crazy, and it's just really well written that it's almost as if you're talking to her face to face. It's what you can imagine coming out of her mouth. It's a great book, heartwarming, challenging. Give it a read. It's only like £2 on iBooks or something like that, so give it a go. So the next book I'm going to recommend to you is a book you've probably heard of by an author you've probably heard of, because if you haven't, then have you been living under a rock? So this book is Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher, or G. Fletcher. It's her first novel. She has now done 4, or is she writing her 4th? I can't remember. She's awesome. Anyway, this is her first book. I've read it a few times now, and it's made me cry. It's such a heartwarming story of Sophie, just a normal girl who works in a cafe, and all of a sudden she meets Billy, this big Hollywood star, and she falls in love with him, and it's all about their story. And oh my days, I've never read anything like it in my life. I couldn't put it down, but I say that I can't put most books down, but I couldn't put it down. I just can't. It's so great. Go read it. Go read Billy and Me at Christmas. I've not read that one yet, so, you know, and she's in the process of writing more, and just read anything by G. Fletcher, basically. The next book I'm going to recommend to you is a book I actually have in my possession. It's a book that I bought recently and read recently, and that is Chocolate Wishes by Trisha Ashley. This book is all about Chloe, who makes chocolate, and she moves house with her family, not very far from where she lives already. But whilst there, an old university flame, an old romantic interest, moves back to the village, and they didn't end things well, or at least Chloe thinks they didn't end things well, and then this old flame thinks they didn't end things well, and it's basically about how they finally end up back together. It's a really good book. It's funny as well as romantic. On the back, you know, sometimes they do the whole wheel of emotion thing, and they're all in quarters, so it's a tearjerker, it's got drama, it's got friendship, and it's got love. It's a great book. I highly recommend that you read this. So the next book I am going to recommend to you is, again, a book I read very recently, and it is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Great book, thriller, just had me on the edge of my seats being like, no, sort of all the way through. It's written in the form of like diary entries and sort of split perspectives of two people, the two main characters, Nick and Amy. It's great. I think this is a book that apparently it's now a major motion picture, so I think it has like, the film has like Ben Affleck in and stuff. Yeah, Ben Affleck. Oh, it's even got Neil Patrick Harris, so I need to watch the film of this. But read the book. It's a great book. It will have you on the edge of your seat. and see if you can figure out the sort of twist right from the beginning. If you can, then you're a lot smarter than me, and I've just got my degree. Okay, and the final book isn't really a book, it's more of an author, because I couldn't pick any of this author's books, and then I only have one of their books in my possession currently. So I am going to recommend to you now anything by the crime author James Patterson. As an example is Truth or Die, which he co-wrote with Howard Ruffman. But he writes lots of crimes. He writes the Alex Cross series, the Women's Murder Group series. That's not the title of that, whatever. He's basically a crime writer. He does series, but he's also got standalone novels. This is one of the standalone novels. It's a great book. His books are all sort of written that you can understand them even though they're crime, all based around like New York Police Department, CIA, FBI, all that sort of stuff. But they're really good. There's romance in them, there's heartbreak in them, there's thriller. James Patterson's always one of those people that you'll go to a charity shop like Oxfam or whatever, and there'll always be so many James Patterson, which is great for me because I'll buy them all. But not great for me because I spend all my money buying James Patterson books. But they're so great. I highly recommend it. So, Truth or Die is about a New York attorney whose girlfriend was murdered, and he tries to figure out why, sort of, and along the way people try and kill him. That's not really giving spoilers away, but it's a great book. Read anything by James Patterson if you want to. You know, you can read all these books if you want to. Okay, so they're my 5 book recommendations for this summer. As I said at the beginning, there are so many other books that I could have recommended, and because I didn't have any of my books here, I really struggled to pick these 5 because I have so many other books. I have lots of Celia Ahern, and I have loads of Jodi Picoult, and I have loads of obviously J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. If you've not read Harry Potter, what is wrong with you? I have just so many styles of books that are all in a cardboard box at my godparents' house. One day I'll get them back and I'll do a part 2 of this, or maybe just talk about my favourite books or authors or what have you. So in the comments below, why don't you leave me your book recommendations for this summer whilst I am unemployed? They could be these ones and you could agree with me and say that, yeah, Louise, they're great books. Or they could be completely different things. I read practically anything, and I have this frustrating thing of not being able to unfinish a book. If you read any of these books that I suggested today, then why not let me know what you like about them, what you don't like about them, whether you'd read them again, whether you suggest them to a friend. That's it for this month. I'll be back next month with another top 5, and I'll see you all very soon.